Hello and welcome. Today we are inside of a 2013 Jeep Grand Cherokee Limited. Let's take a look under the hood. So this is powered by a 3.6 liter V6, producing 290 horsepower and 260 pound-feet of torque. This engine is mated with a 5-speed automatic. This Jeep rides on 17-inch alloy wheels on 265 width tires. It does have HID headlights, which means high-intensity discharge. Let's look inside. So, some of the features on this Grand Cherokee. For one, it does have an infotainment system. It also has a backup camera. It has an auto-dimming mirror. And within this infotainment system, it has, of course, radio. It has Bluetooth functionality. If you open that, you actually can run full DVDs as well as CDs. It also has an aux port here and a USB charging port, as well as navigation. So this Jeep does have side curtain airbags on each side, as well as, of course, the standard dual front airbags. It has heated front seats with 2 levels, as well as having the HID headlights I mentioned. It does have a center storage console right here for private items that you can close right there. This has a full panoramic sunroof, so I will open that and show you that. So a panoramic sunroof means that it opens not just once, but opens 2 levels, so the front and rear passengers can have that open as well. It doesn't fully open the glass all the way back, but it does open the privacy shade, or the sunshade. And let me just close that up there. All right. So this infotainment system also has storage for a hard drive, so you could actually install or transfer some of your own home videos, photos, or movies and films that you can download right into the infotainment system. So you could use this as a great road trip car. Visibility is pretty good throughout the Jeep. As you can see through the rear, it's pretty good, but it has a very thick rear pillar on each side, as well as having a thick A-pillar on each side in the front. Let's see how much legroom there is. So I myself am about 6 feet tall, and I do have adequate legroom. Headroom, I have about 3 inches left above me here, so it would be very comfortable on a long ride. Also in the back, this does have both head and foot controls for the heating system or air conditioning system, as well as heated rear seats for both of them, also with 2 levels. All right, let's take this Jeep for a ride. For drive modes in this Jeep, it does have many. It has full 4-wheel drive system with 4-wheel drive low included. It has a hill descent control button. It has an auto drive mode, which I will keep it in for now, but it also has snow, sport, where it turns off traction control, sand, mud, and a rock mode. There are many blank buttons throughout this Jeep though, because it is not a higher trim such as an overland or an altitude, or summit I believe is also a high trim in this. So Jeep did not do the best with fit and finish in terms of that, but most of this interior is well upholstered. It has a nice full leather seat. It has pretty wide bolsters. These are very wide seats, so it's not going to keep you very tight in corners, keep you in them, but they're adequate. I wish the legs did have much thicker bolsters, though. They're basically non-existent. But most materials are soft touch. It has some fake wood trim along with some chrome. And it also has 2 seating memory positions for the driver. It also has a full memory passenger seat with full lumbar support, as well as the 2 rear seats actually do recline with the controlled lever. And it does have daylight sensing both wipers daylight sensing headlights, as well as rain sensing wipers. Okay, let's go for a ride. So this is mated with a 5-speed automatic transmission, as I mentioned earlier. It does have overdrive, which means I can control the gears like so, but I will keep it in drive for now. So, one of the first things you notice about this Jeep is it does have a very torquey low end for acceleration. It does have a digital speedometer, of course, that's a nice touch. But once you get past that initial torque band, it definitely is a very linear power band. Even if you were to redline it up to around 6,000 RPM, it doesn't really pick up very quickly. This is a very heavy Jeep. It weighs about 6,500 pounds. They did not focus on weight savings here, as this chassis has remained the same from 2011, when this generation began, through the following generation, 2015 to 2020, and just now, current year 2022, they finally remodeled the Grand Cherokee. And they hopefully improved a lot of weight savings. But in the day-to-day, this Jeep does have very light steering, which pulls away a bit of the weight and size of this vehicle. This is only a 2-row mid-size SUV, whereas similar competitors such as the Toyota Highlander and others do have, and the Subaru Ascent especially, is a very off-road oriented competitor. They do have 3 rows, so they only squeezed out 2 rows into this Jeep, but it does leave for a great cargo area. So, tire noise is definitely suppressed in this Jeep. It does not really suffer from that, but wind noise is highly present. It is not a silent cabin by any means, although it's not very loud, it's not excessive. Some of the driving dynamics of this Jeep, it does, of course, weigh 6,500 pounds, with not the greatest size tires, so it definitely has a very loose suspension. There are huge amounts of body roll, as to be expected. This is a truck-based SUV, whereas nearly all of those are gone, save the 4Runner and currently the Ford Bronco. I believe are the only body-on-frame truck-based SUVs still in production. So I will turn around here, show you the backup camera. It does not have a 360 camera, and it also does not have the varying lines to help you park, but it does have them present, as well as sensors, which definitely do help. And we will go back the way we came. So this Jeep does have a pretty bouncy ride. It is not a terrible ride, even though it is, of course, a Jeep. It drives like a truck, but it really doesn't suffer too badly from the ride. It has a pretty spongy, soft suspension, which is good. Although, as I mentioned, it is a very loose suspension, so it does allow for hefty amounts of body roll. And I will pull it down into overdrive so you can hear this engine just a little bit. It is very slow to shift in this overdrive mode, understandably, as this is an early iteration of it. I'll put it back in drive. The brake feel in this Jeep, it's confidence inspiring. Even though it's a heavy Jeep, it has adequate braking. It has about a medium travel distance to the pedals, I would say. Not quite as much as some other cars I have driven, but not too shallow either, which is a good thing. So, driving this Jeep in the day-to-day, this is not my daily driver, this is a relative's car, but they drive it at highway speeds pretty often, which they do say it suffers a lot there from the wind noise, and it does pick up some tire noise once you get up to speeds. However, in the day-to-day around town, this is a manageable Jeep. I would not even quote the 0 to 60 time. It is not impressive, I can guarantee that, but in the day-to-day, it's a good Jeep to drive, it's fine. It does automatically go down into eco mode, which is not controllable, which is somewhat frustrating because it keeps it in a very low gear. As you can see, I'm cruising about 20 miles an hour currently in a park, and it is at about 700 RPM. It's basically running at idle, which when you want to jump up, now it's jumping up, but once, when you do need the power in this Jeep, it's not always there. there is a big dip in torque and power from about 3,500 RPM up right through a red line. It really does not get up and go very quickly, which is to be expected. However, it's just something you should note. So, would I recommend buying this Jeep? It did sticker in 2013 for about $29,000 MSRP. However, now these can be found, this particular Jeep has about 160,000 miles. You can find these with anywhere from 100 to 150,000 miles for anywhere in the $10,000 to $15,000 range. Would I say it's worth it? It depends on who you are. It is a truck-based SUV, so some things you could compare it to are mainly just the Toyota 4Runner and the Ford Bronco, as well as the Jeep Wrangler. This is definitely a more family-oriented vehicle with a lot more creature comforts than that of the Wrangler or the 4Runner. However, the Bronco does match a lot of it. And that is gonna about do it. I would recommend this Jeep for most people if they are needing it for a family hauler. It is very capable in snow and all-season weather as we get up here in the north, but it definitely drives like a truck, and there are better options out there currently with the car market. Thank you for watching.